Welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Shocking incident we want to tell you about. An 80-year-old cancer survivor being mugged at gunpoint after visiting a TD Bank branch on Queen Mary Road. The attack took place on March 6th, left the elderly man with serious injuries, including a fractured sternum and dislocated shoulder. Now his son is speaking out, demanding accountability from the bank, which he claims failed to provide adequate security and protection for vulnerable seniors. Lieven Di Livani joins us on the line now over Zoom. He's the son of the 80-year-old that was mugged. Lieven, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Elias. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. Let's hear your story. First things first, why don't you tell our listeners
Sure.
about your father? Tell us about your father and describe him to our listeners. What should we know about him?
So, he's someone that's always there for his neighbors. He's always helping everybody in our community. He's the type of guy, even when it snows at 81 years old, he goes out to help other people shovel the car out of snow. So this story happened to him on March 6th when he went to the bank in the morning. It was around 10:20 a.m. that he got to the bank, the TD Bank on Queen Mary. He was there for about 30 minutes. He did his banking, whatever he was doing. He withdrew some money. And then he came out of the bank. There was a bus station right next to the bank on the other side of the street. So he waited for the bus stop and got into the bus. Somebody followed him when he came out of the bank all the way to front of his driveway in his home, and they mugged him right in front of his home, which was, I still couldn't believe that this happened at 11:30 in the morning.
Gotcha. Now, so you say he was followed from the bank, right?
Correct.
Because
So
I'm looking,
exactly.
yeah, and I'm looking at this, and it's one thing if they were to be robbed outside the bank, maybe
Correct.
inside near the ATMs. I'm looking at this and I say, well, at a certain point, how much blame can go to TD if it happened following a bus ride in front of his own home? What do you say to that?
No, that's true. The bank has been they've been actually very cooperative with the police and investigators regarding this. In other ways, it's because they don't really have any other choice but to cooperate with the police. But what really upset me when I was at their branch and I met their VP was that they basically told me since this didn't happen inside the bank, it has nothing to do with them. So that shows kind of a disregard towards events that are happening to them. But let's be clear, these criminals, they did actually use that specific TD Bank as a hunting ground. They literally targeted elderly, the very people who spent a lifetime building our community. Basically, TD's response to us, to my family, was a shrug and saying, not our problem. So that's why it kind of infuriated us.
So do you think that whoever did this to your father was in the bank at one point? Was is that what you think happened, or is it just people watching people leaving the bank and then following them?
So it's not really clear if they were actually in the bank or they watched people coming out of the bank, but we believe they might have been inside the bank because otherwise they wouldn't have known how much money he would have withdrawn at the teller.
Okay, I want to read you the response from TD because, of
Yeah.
course, we reached out to TD ahead of this interview. Here's what they told us. We were sad to learn that one of our customers was the victim of a robbery after leaving our branch location. The safety of our customers and colleagues is very important to us. While this incident did not occur on our branch premises, we are fully cooperating with law enforcement in their investigation. We encourage anyone with information to come forward and contact law enforcement. We also want to remind our customers to stay vigilant when handling cash transactions and be aware of their surroundings when they leave branch premises. Our team is always available to discuss safe banking practices and alternative transaction methods. Why don't you tell me here, Lieven, maybe you have a reaction to what TD is saying? I think you've touched on it a little bit, but that's their full statement to us.
No, as I said, they do need to do their due diligence to inform their clients about anything that happens, and especially when a client withdraws a certain amount of money and they're elderly, they need to be aware because these people are in news. Things like this don't actually make it to the news often, so people are not aware of what happens. So it's the banks. It's about the incident. It's about the pattern of indifference that the banks are showing to these events. And it's not only isolated to TD. Like a couple of weeks ago, it even happened at RBC Bank. So it's not only limited to TD. It's pretty much all banks are happening, but no one's really doing much about these.
We're with Sean Livani. His father was mugged at gunpoint outside of his home after taking out money from a TD bank. How are you hearing about that other case? Is that because I know you posted on social media? Are you hearing from others with similar stories?
Correct. And people have been posting on my post telling us about incident that happened like a couple of days ago. There was a lady that got mugged from RBC Bank. A similar event happened in near Westmount. So it's not very isolated to that specific area. It's kind of going all over the city right now.
Let me ask you how your father is doing right now. How is he coping? Injuries, mental health, all of that. How's he doing?
I mean, he's in a lot of physical pain. You know, he's a retired Navy officer, so his physical pain is, I can't even mention how he's coping with it. But with love and support, his spirit is very high, and we're there all the way with him. But physically, he probably has permanent damage to his shoulder and everything. So,
gotcha. And what does your dad want right here? What could anything give him some finality to this story?
I mean, these are our parents. These are our grandparents. These are people who worked their entire lives, and they deserve to feel safe in our community. If we kind of don't stand up and demand better, if we don't hold institutions like TD or any other banks accountable, then who will do this in our community? And I believe it's time for the community to rise up and say enough is enough. I truly believe that one story can actually force everlasting change. And I hope people are aware of what is going on with the elderly when they leave the bank, and this story can help and protect others so this doesn't happen.
What about the police here? Because and your point taken on the bank, but again, I'll point out again, it didn't happen in front of the bank. It happened in front of your father's home. What about the policing here? What have the police told you? What's been the response there in trying to find who is responsible for this?
I mean, they're really cooperative. They were very nice with my father when they took my father to hospital. They stayed with him till the end, and they made sure that he's fine. A couple of investigators came and met him. They even went to his home and met my sister and my mom. So the police have been very cooperative with this, and they're helping whatever they can to catch the criminals that did this. But again, it's not a very isolated story. As the police said, this is not the first time they hear this, and sadly, it keeps happening more and more often in our city.
Did the police tell you if they have an inkling if this is like organized crime, an organized gang, or more random? Do they have any idea?
They didn't really comment on that, but it could be like organized. It could be they saw opportunity for someone who was a weak target and they attacked him. It could be anything, but nonetheless, this happened when he went to the bank and after he came out of the bank. We do understand, we're not saying the bank is accountable for it, but there is a minimal accountability. The bank must do their due diligence for their client.
Well, Sean, listen, I hope your dad gets as close to 100% as is possible. And I do thank you for coming on and just sharing that story, because I think there are a lot of people that should be a little bit more vigilant. And I think stories like this will keep that in mind.
Sure. And I also would like to thank our community for the love and the support that they showed to my father, and for sharing the story to make it matter, because I believe that the more people know about stories like this, the more we can protect our own community.
Sean, thanks again. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Elliot.
That's
Have a great day.
Sean Livani right there.